Humans have done some pretty cool stuff, like going to the moon and inventing the light bulb. You can probably even name the people who did those things. But can you name the person who most drastically changed the course of humanity? Don't worry, I can't either. Actually, no one can. We have no idea which person first looked at a seed and thought, I bet if I shove this under some dirt, it'll grow into more seeds. Humans lived 95% of our history as a species as hunters and gatherers, but the other 5-ish% we lived as farmers. Hold on to your straw hats as we figure out why that person decided to shove a seed into the ground instead of eating it like you would have done. This is World History Basics by History Hookup, and for the rest of the series, we'll be spending time explaining major moments in human history between when the first human ancestors showed up and our modern life today. Agriculture completely changes the human way of life. It causes a population boom, people start building cities and forming governments and making civilizations and writing stuff down, and it's a big deal, okay? But in reality, converting to an agricultural society didn't happen overnight. Hunter-gatherers had a broad knowledge of plant life already, and humans started focusing on using all available foods in smaller areas, instead of migrating as far for specific foods. Their population grew, but at a certain point, the population got too large that hunting and gathering in that area couldn't sustain everyone. Humans started domesticating certain plants and animals to ensure they did have a food supply. It was a gradual shift, and there's no one person who invented agriculture because it actually developed independently in a lot of different places. The Fertile Crescent, Sub-Saharan Africa, China, New Guinea, Mesoamerica, the Andes, and Eastern North America. And to top it off, these places all figured it out around the same time, between 12,000 and 4,000 years ago in the warming after the last ice age. This is because certain plant species started to thrive in the warmer climate, especially cereals like Lucky Charms and Fruity Pebbles. I meant cereal grasses like wheat, corn, oats, millet, rice, etc. Agriculture is the cultivation of plants and livestock. Humans started breeding these plants and animals for desirable traits. Let's use corn as an example. In the wild, the teosinte plant looks like this, and by saving the kernels of the larger cobs each harvest and then planting them the next year, we eventually got some nice big cobs. And by eventually, I mean it took 8,000 years. It works similarly with animals. If you have 2 cows and one is really easy to milk and the other keeps headbutting you when you try to get close, you're probably going to butcher the headbutter and make the friendly one have babies, so there are more nice cows who are easy to milk. Although, who knows who the first people were who saw a cow's udder and thought, let's squeeze it and drink it. Agriculture is difficult if you're moving around a lot, so humans started settling down in more permanent villages, usually near water sources, and to be close to their crops. Humans invented the hoe or digging stick to help with planting, but what they planted and the animals they raised depended on where they lived. There are hundreds of thousands of plant species, but only a few hundred were domesticated, and of the 6,000 mammal species, humans only tamed 14 large mammals. The first animal to be domesticated was the dog, but they were actually tamed before the start of agriculture. The rest happened now, during the agricultural revolution. Let's see where certain plants and animals were originally domesticated. Humans in Southwest Asia domesticated figs, wheat, barley, rye, peas, lentils, sheep, goat, pigs, cattle, and their switch from nomadic life to agriculture was fast. It only took 500 years. The Sahara in Africa is now mostly desert, but it had much more rain 10 to 5,000 years ago. There they domesticated cattle. And in sub-Saharan Africa, they bred sorghum, teff, enset, yams, oil palm trees, okra, cola nuts, as in Coca-Cola, castor beans, gourds, millet, and donkeys. In China, they domesticated rice, millet, soybeans, pigs, chickens, and water buffalo. And in New Guinea, taro, bananas, yams, and sugarcane were bred. In the Andes Mountains of South America, they domesticated potatoes, quinoa, manioc, llamas, alpacas, and guinea pigs. Just a reminder, none of these were pets. Mesoamericans bred maize, squash, beans, and turkey, and in the eastern part of North America, they domesticated the sunflower, goosefoot, and sumpweed. Agriculture took 3,500 years to take hold in the Americas. Agriculture spread from these centers in 2 ways. 1, diffusion, where the idea spread to neighboring peoples, and 2, agricultural societies slowly migrated and displaced or absorbed or conquered others, bringing agriculture with them. Plants and animals can move into new areas easier if they're in similar climates, and similar climates usually follow latitude. Eurasia is wide and has lots of places for those plants and animals to move. The Americas have a disadvantage because they are extremely narrow east to west in some places, so it wasn't as easy for plants and animals to spread. As agriculture spread, some societies focused more on animal instead of plant domestication and became pastoralists or herders. Their animals like camels, sheep, goats, cattle, horses, or reindeer depended on the grasses, and so they remained nomadic. tech. But agriculture didn't spread everywhere. Some places remain hunter-gatherers either because they didn't need farming, they couldn't farm, or they didn't want to. Agriculture drastically changed human society. Human population exploded from 6 million 10,000 years ago to 50 million 5,000 years ago and 250 million by 2,000 years ago. Settlement sizes increased and people started making more permanent homes and monuments. Some settlements stayed egalitarian societies while others developed chiefdoms. Agriculture also drastically changed the environment and human health. Farming took lots of effort, more than hunting and gathering societies. To create more fields for crops or grazing, humans dug up grasses, shrubs, and trees, which led to soil erosion and deforestation. Humans invented sickles, polished axes, pottery wheels, textiles, looms, and metalworking for jewelry, tools, and weapons. And while farming did provide a more reliable food supply, it also had negative health impacts. Human remains show more tooth decay, shorter heights, and lower life expectancy in these societies. Animals did help some of the burden of farming, if you had them. Sorry, everyone in the Americas who only had llamas. People started using their animals for things besides meat, like milking, using the hides or wool for clothing, using manure for fertilizer, riding them, and eventually using them to help plow fields. But living near animals exposed humans to new diseases like smallpox, malaria, measles, chickenpox, and more. The diseases spread quickly in the large settlements, resulting in the first epidemics. The Americas actually avoided a lot of these diseases. For now. The agricultural revolution was a big turning point in human history. Humans began changing their environments to control their food supply. But what about when events out of their control happened, like when a drought hit and they didn't have enough food? Next time we'll talk about the broader societal changes this brought on and how civilizations emerged.